Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be my March wrap-up video, and I'm going to share with you guys all of the books that I read this month and give you guys just my general thoughts and opinions on them. So before anything else, let's just get started. I actually have all the books that I read back here, so I'm just gonna go ahead and grab them. This isn't the first book that I read this month, but it's the shortest, and I just want to get it out of the way really fast. It is The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. This book is one of the Little Black Classics by Penguin. I actually bought two of these recently. I know I'm supposed to be in a book buying ban, but I couldn't resist. I feel like a lot of people might have read this in school at some point. I read it, I remember, in middle school the first time, and then I read it in like my AP English classes, and I had read it once again, like I feel like 2 or 3 times in a couple of my literature classes in college. Just really like it. This particular Little Black book has actually 3 short stories. It has The Yellow Wallpaper, obviously, and then The Rocking Chair, and I think the third one was Old Water. I really enjoyed this book. I really want to buy more of these Little Black Classics, so if you guys have any recommendations, please let me know. I bought these, by the way, on the Book Depository because these are only available in the UK from what I know, and I ended up buying it on the Book Depository. So yeah, I kind of want more of them though. They're just so pretty and so cute, and I really like them. The first book that I read this month was The Sin Eater's Daughter by Melinda Salisbury. I've talked about this book in my channel before. This was one of my most anticipated books of 2015. I thought that the concept was just so fascinating. It's about a girl who has the power to kill people with her touch. I have really mixed feelings about this because I feel like I wanted to really like it because the bones of the story were really great, and I would say kind of like towards the later half the book was so fantastic, but I don't feel that there was enough of a balance in the book. It was really kind of missing a lot of setting up in the beginning for the end, and then the end, it just, I don't know what it is about this book. I really wish that it was longer. I feel like if it was slightly longer and if certain things were developed a bit more, this would have been like one of my favorite books of the year. It just left me wanting more, but not in a great way. I gave it a 3, and I do want to read the next book just to know more about the story and what's going on, especially with that cliffhanger. It has a cliffhanger at the end, but it was just so out of nowhere. I have a lot of comments about this book. If you guys want me to do like a full review of it, please let me know, because I have so many things that I want to say about this book, and I feel like I can't say them in just a wrap-up. And if you guys have read this book, let me know what you guys think about it, because I feel very conflicted about this book. I wanted to like it so much more. So after The Sin Eater's Daughter, I fell into a bit of a slump again. You guys know that I had just gotten out of my reading slump, and I was rocking and rolling, and then I got to that book, I read it, and the ending kind of left me so it was kind of hard for me to get back into reading right away. But then I actually started rereading Insurgent by Veronica Roth with Ilse and Kevin. I will have their channels linked down below for you guys to check them out. It got me back into reading. I feel like this book, I had forgotten so much about it just because of the trauma I had with Allegiant. I kind of erased this book from my memory for the most part, but it was just so great to go back and read it, and I think I enjoyed it more on my reread than I did on my first time reading it, to be honest. It's not a perfect book or anything, but I kind of rated it this time more out of like my enjoyment. I tried not to analyze it too much. I really enjoyed it. I'm really glad I reread it. I might actually read Allegiant now. Maybe. And then the third book that I read this month, I did a little buddy read along with Mandy from Oh It's Mandy. Again, I will have her channel linked down below, and we both decided that it was about time we finally read The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer by Michelle Hodkin. Why did I not read this book sooner, guys? I read this in one sitting, and she warned me because we were supposed to read it together, and I was finishing up Insurgent, so I couldn't like start it right away. She was just gonna start it and kind of like check in with me to see how far I'd gotten, and we'd catch up. She ended up reading this in a day. Obviously that made me want to read it even more, and I read it in one sitting, and it's such a great book. While I was reading it, I had no idea what was going on. in the best way possible. It is about a girl named Mara Dyer who survives a very horrible accident, and she is the only survivor, and 3 of her other friends ended up dying in the accident, and it has been kind of months and she's been recuperating. She ends up seeing her friends. Throughout the story, you're trying to figure out, is this like some kind of psychological thing that she's suffering, or is there something more paranormal? Like, is there a basis for all of her hallucinations that is not just like psychological? And it is such a good book. I actually enjoyed that book so much that I started reading The Evolution of Mara Dyer. I have all 3 books, by the way. So I'm currently reading this. I haven't finished it yet. When I get back into reading this book, I just want to like sit down, that's like all I want to do for the day. I also read The Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson. I love this book. I was a little bit scared, I have to admit, because of the hype around this book. Everybody talked about like the major plot twists in this, which obviously it's not a spoiler or anything, it's like part of the synopsis, but this princess runs away on the morning of her wedding, and she runs away to like this small town on the outskirts of her kingdom, and then 2 guys show up. One of the guys is an assassin who was sent to kill her, and the other guy is the prince that she was set to marry, and you're trying to figure out who the assassin is and who the prince is. But what really took me by surprise is that that twist was not even like the most crucial twist in the story. You actually found out about who the prince was and who the assassin was pretty early on in the story. I think around like maybe the halfway mark, maybe a little less, you found out who was who, and then from there things just took off and it was crazy, and I really liked it, and I am so torn now between the 2 guys because I thought I liked one of them, and then the second part of the novel I kind of started liking the other one, but I don't want to like the other one. It's a very conflicting. It is very kind of romance heavy, so if you're not a fan of super romance driven novels, I don't know if you're gonna like this as much, but it is really good. I really recommend it just for the plot twists, and for the world is so fascinating and so awesome, and the main character, I really liked her as well. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I think I ended up giving it like a 5 out of 5 stars. It's a really good book, and I am definitely pre-ordering the next one. And then last but not least, if you follow me on Goodreads, if you follow me on Instagram, if you follow me on Twitter, you're gonna know about this book, because this book has just toyed with my emotions, and I love it so much. It is Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas. I started reading it I think in February, but you guys know that I am the biggest Hale Selena shipper in the world. I love him, and I love him so much, and I love him with Selena so much. Even from Throne of Glass, I really liked him with Selena. And this book just fulfilled my fantasies, and then it tore them apart, and it broke my heart, and it just made me love them so much. And I really love this book, and it just took me so long to read it because I loved it so much. I just didn't want it to end. And now I actually have Heir of Fire, and I want to read it, but I am so terrified of reading it just because what's gonna happen with my baby, okay? I don't know, and I'm scared to find out. I just want them to be happy, and they're not gonna be happy anytime soon because they're only on the 3rd book. So there's 3 more books that are set to come out in this series. So obviously they're not gonna be happy anytime soon. Okay, so it's hard. So hard. It honestly really took me by surprise because usually for me, the like sequel in any trilogy or any series usually falls short for me. But I think I like this book more than Throne of Glass. So that really took me by surprise. So that is it for my very weird wrap up this month. Guys, Crown of Midnight. If someone asks me right now, like, hey, how have you been? I'll just answer them, Crown of Midnight. That's how I've been. They wouldn't know what I'm talking about, but I know what I'm talking about. You guys probably know what I'm talking about, right? So that is it for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys. I am going to share some of my favorite contemporaries with you guys.